Hello, everyone, and welcome. And as you know, at the sound of the trumpet, that means it's time to begin. Please put your hands together and welcome our host presenter. Please welcome from leadingedgetrading.com. Please welcome the head trader.
And thank you, Kathy, for all that you do behind the scenes. I know I thank you every time we do these, but I'm telling you, if you never have a chance to work with Kathy, if you ever have a chance, you should take it. She's pretty awesome. In any event, what do you want to talk about today, huh? Trading? There you go. I would like to take a slightly different approach than probably most other presenters you've ever seen or heard. I may say a few things that may ruffle your feathers, but it seems in this PC world that we live in that truth has become the new hate speech. I'm here to help. I'm here to change your life. Obviously, you're still searching for a better way to do this. I get that. I did all those. I used to drive crisscross across countless states going to various meetings and money events and trader events and traders clubs and all. I did all that. I'll tell you a little about my history here in just a minute, and we'll get to that. I get bombarded almost on a daily basis by people with their theories. You see television commercials all the time. There's one, oh, hey, Kathy, yeah, I just wanted to bounce a trading idea off you. Okay, Kathy, with all due respect, you don't know squat about what you're asking. That's the sad part. That what passes for knowledge or information these days is scary stupid. I'm interested in working with serious traders. I'm a serious person. I'm passionate about the market. I know what I'm doing. We know what we're doing. This is a no BS deal. This is a no BS seminar. I may say some things, as I said, to ruffle a few feathers, but so what? Do you want the truth or do you want to be lied to? I'm assuming you're all adults. I'm assuming you're here to learn something. So we're going to take it from that perspective, and let's see if we can't change a few ideas about how you approach the market, how you even think about your trading in the first place, and change your life. That's what this is about. I'm not interested really in anything else except what the market has to say. The market has to be the master. The market dictates when we get up, when we use the facilities, when we eat, when we take questions, everything we do. The market is the master, not the traders. Back in the day when I was trading more equities and then options before I got more seriously focused on commodities, I was using a beta version of TradeStation. And I'm not knocking TradeStation. I don't particularly care for their charts because I don't think they're very good, and I can prove it to you as to why if you know how to read the market. But for their purposes, okay, they're fine. But back before you could even trade the ES, we were using a beta version of TradeStation. They sent us all the stuff, and I looked at their manual. It's like the size of the Miami phone book. What was the deal? Well, you can write programs to take yourself out of the market. You can take yourself completely out of the equation by writing a program. All that's, yeah, that's great. You know what's missing from that equation? A fundamental understanding of how the market works in the first place. If you don't have that, you're like a dog chasing your tail. With all due respect, and I'm not casting aspersions toward anyone here. You're all here to learn. But we have to dispose of the things and the premises, the beliefs that haven't served us well. So, as I said, to be frank and with all due respect, I don't care what you like. I don't care what you've studied. I don't care what you used or follow or know or who you know or who you think you know. Unless you have a fundamental understanding of how the market works and how it generates the information that it does without using indicators, you're all wet. You're behind the eight ball. You're like a person who decides, well, I like running marathons, but I like running them backwards. Well, la-di-da for you. I mean, you can do that if you want to, but you're not going to win. I'm in this marathon to win. We show up every day to make money. That's our goal, to make money, not maybe, hope, wish, or whatever. You say, well, that's pretty arrogant. Well, trying to make the market work with something that doesn't work and then defend it, that's arrogant. What we're doing is trying to share with you a completely different perspective. Most people aren't interested. Most people are precious snowflakes that have been given trophies all their life for participating and want to do things their way, no matter how stupid that is, no matter how unproductive that is, no matter how results devoid that is, they still want to do it. Okay, go somewhere else. We're not for you. But I can show you, and I'll show you the charts of what we did the last few days, and I'll show you how to access every single chart that we've posted of what we've done every single trading day since the beginning of the year. We've had no losses. I mean, individual trade losses, but no daily losses. And we capture about 20 points a day out of the S&P market on average. Sometimes more, sometimes a lot more. If the market's really tiny range, not going anywhere, maybe 16, 18, but average of 20 or more a day. We swing trade other markets. I'll show you those too. Okay, so I want you to buckle up, hold on, keep an open mind, take a lot of notes. We're going to cover some stuff here, and I'll show you how to prove that, and it won't cost you a nickel. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to show you what we do. I'm here to allow you to experience it for free. If you like it and you want to join us, great, but it doesn't cost you a penny to find out if I know what I'm talking about or if I'm full of hot air. And I have no problem with that skepticism, and I have no problem proving it to you. Okay? So with that understanding, let's move on. So I am the head trader of a firm by the name of Leading Edge Trading. You can find us at leadingedgetrading.com. We are a professional trading outfit. We cater to pro traders and those aspiring to be. We have in-house traders. We have 4 levels of service, which we'll talk about later, but we cater to the highest common denominator, not the lowest. I'm not interested in grandma who wants to make 4 trades a year in her 401k. We're not for her. This is deep into the pool stuff. This is the real deal, real guns, real bullets with your money, and we're going to show you how to capture all of that occurs all day, every day, with small risk per trade, regardless of what the market's doing. You say that's impossible. Well, doing it your way, yeah, but we're trying to show you a different way, a completely different way, a way with no indicators and a way to have it mapped out ahead of time, specifically, as in to the tick, as in from here, from where to where. And I'll prove it to you, okay? So you don't have to believe me. Just be open to the idea that it's possible, and we'll take you along the way, okay? So, as I said, I have been doing this for a while. I was investing in the 80s. I started trading more actively in the 90s with the advent of the internet. I transitioned to full-time, sold my company. I was fortunate in that I had a few bucks and very little understanding of the market, so I didn't have anything to unlearn, but I made every mistake that you could make. The fact that I had sold my company, which was for a decent sum, and I had more than a few decent bucks, and I'm not bragging, it just shows the stupidity of some of my earlier trades. So however bad you think some of your days were, maybe just add a few zeros and I can show you how stupid, how utterly stupid I was. I've made every mistake along the way. I was asked to speak to a group of investors and then some groups of traders back in the late 90s. And that's how this whole thing started, of me mentoring other people. When you start working with traders and they come to you with their problems and their understanding and the way that they view things and the complications they have of grasping new concepts or whatever, you start to see common denominators. From that, I formulated and broke down my list of the things that I did, the mistakes that I made, et cetera, along the way. I went from, day trading stocks. I got educated in New York in a day trading firm back when the internet was brand new and online trading and all that. Ooh, okay, great. Before SOS was even around, and then when SOS came out, I was the SOS king of the firm, hammer, 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 hammer. I needed more screens so I could have more stocks up because you could only SOS a company 1,000 shares at a time for 5 minutes. Okay, I did all that. So what? I started trading options. We were hedging in the euro back when the euro was trading at 89 cents, pretty much flat. We would sell a strangle about 6 points over, 4 points under, and pick up the theta decay on a delta neutral strategy. About 1,000 contracts, about 1.6 million position. It'd make us 24,000 or so a day. A low of 16, high of 27, maybe 1,000 a day. 7 days a week. I bought a Hatteras, named it Theta Decay, just killing time, right? With the profits from that, we would day trade around it, pick up another 10 or 20 grand a day. I made the transition to focusing on the ES pretty much full time, 99, 2000, something like that. And I've been focused on it ever since. The most important reason was because it runs the world. We'll talk about that as the day goes on. I've worked with over 1,000 traders, hedge fund guys, prop traders, prop trading groups, pro traders. We have pro traders in-house, all that kind of stuff. So I am come in the front door, let you have it with both barrels kind of guy. If you want somebody to tell you everything's going to be okay and pass you a whoopee and, you know, a blankie and say, oh, that's okay, you know, whatever you're doing is fun, I'm not your guy. I'm the real deal telling you how this really works, and I'll map it out for you, and I'll prove it to you, and it won't cost you a nickel. You say, okay, so what made the transition? What was the turning point? That's what traders want to ask. What was the thing? Like you can flip one switch and that fixes everything. It doesn't work like that. I was an indicator whore. I had every indicator on the planet because I kept thinking, well, I don't know enough. So I'd study one thing. I'd study Fibonacci. Ooh, great. Sounds good. Look in theory, right? Okay. I don't ever remember making one decision in my life based on how many chambers there are in a seashell after that. I studied Elliott Wave. I studied GAN. I studied, you know, market profile, price action, all that crap. It's all crap. What is it? It's somebody else's theory to try and explain a recurring or a somewhat recurring phenomenon they don't understand, but they put it into context, and then other people grasp onto that and try and use it. And they use it or misuse it everywhere, right? I'm an Elliott Wave guy, so this is a B wave, of an A wave, of a C retraction, of a wave extension, of an XYZ, of a... Are you done? Why don't you just admit you didn't have it figured out in the first place, right? Grow up. Okay, and that's where you got to be in your own head. The problems we have as traders do not come from outside forces. The biggest challenge you have is in your own head, and I can prove that to you too. Why? I can map out the entire day to the tick. First, we will go here, then here, and I'll show you the charts that we did for the past 3 days. And people still won't do it. Why? Well, I didn't think it was, well, based on what? On your big brain? Check out the big brain on Brad kind of thing? Come on. The market said that. Okay, we'll get to that. So what was the thing that changed my trading? You guessed it. Okay, so I had all of these charts. This was back when you had the 20 or 21-inch monitors, the big tube jobs you could get a tan in front of, and I had 4 of them. I had every indicator on every time frame. There was a young woman who worked at a brokerage firm at the end of this complex where I was. Well, I was in Boca Raton, Florida, a place called Meisner Park, just north of Camino Real. And there was a young woman who worked at a brokerage firm. I used to see her at the deli down below my office. I was on the second floor. I had a balcony, looked out over the whole thing. It was pretty beautiful. But I used to see her in the deli. She would come in and say, you know, hey, we started talking. She found out I was a trader. She wanted to be a trader when she started working at the brokerage firm, but what did they have her doing? Not trading. Okay, but she wanted to be a trader, want to learn how to trade. So she came to my office. She started looking at all the things on my screen when I lit them up. Ooh, look at that. Ah, wow, that's colorful. Ooh, that's pretty. What does that do? Well, and I explained what I recalled from the textbook version of what that thing, whatever it was, PSA or, you know, whatever it was, some stochastic setting. I mean, I used to put Bollinger Bands on indicators. I mean, I was an outside-the-box thinker. Okay, but she started asking me, well, how would you initiate a trade based on that? I didn't want to say it at the time, but it was thinking, you know, I can't ever remember ever initiating a trade based on that. And after she left, I took it off my screen, and it was kind of freeing. And then I started looking at some of the other things, saying, you know, I just got too much garbage on my screen, so I started taking them off. And it was very freeing. Then I started reading about the ones, again, that I didn't want to take off. like my whoopee, right? Like my blanket. Remember that kid with the whoopee with the blanket in Mr. Mom, that movie? Well, the whole idea was I wasn't really using any of them, but I didn't want to let go of them. They were like a crutch. So what did I do? I read again about them and why I put it on there. And I, instead of reading one every 6 months, I read all of them the same night. And it was very enlightening because the point came to me that all of this stuff is looking at the market and the moves, the parameters, whatever the matrix is that makes up this indicator that it measures. They're all looking at the same stuff, but they're drawing different conclusions. You can put 2 or 3 indicators on the same chart, double bottom, double top, whatever, and one of them will say, oh, divergence. The other one will say, oh, you're going to get more, whatever, and the other one will say flatline. Which one's right? Well, I guess what happens afterwards will determine that, but next time it'll be a different one. Here's the thing. I should probably move this picture, right? Here's the thing. The market changes all of the time. And when I say changes, I don't mean direction. I don't mean just direction. I mean it changes all of its parameters all of the time. Direction, timing, range, magnitude, volume, volatility, the speed of accumulation, depreciation, all of these factors are changing all of the time. So you can't have an indicator or an algorithm or an anything that looks at all of those parameters, because not only do they all change at different rates, which is why you can't make the stuff you've been using work, because it looks at a few parameters, maybe 1 or 2. Even if it looks at 5, it's not enough. Because here's the thing. Not only do they change, as I just said, they change at different rates. So you can tweak it, and people say, well, I'll have different time frames, and I'll have different... Okay, so you tweak it and make it faster. And then what happens when the market slows down? And I'm not talking about days, weeks, months. I'm talking minutes after you tweak it. Then what? Then it's off again. It's indicating too soon. So it's never in sync. That's the problem with what you've been doing. Okay, here's the way I view it. You've probably seen this commercial. Whoops, went too fast. You've probably seen this commercial where a particular insurance company brings on this woman, and I have no idea why that's their spokesperson, but hey, that's their choice, okay? And she says, you're having trouble. You're good at a lot of things. I talked about this last time, and I got a few emails that was hilarious, and now every time they see that commercial, they can't get it out of their head. But she says, here's the dealio, right? You're good at a lot of things, but parallel parking isn't one of them. You're either too close to the curb or too close to the car in front of you. It's just a matter of time before you rip some guy's bumper off. So here's what she came up with as solutions. She lists 2 options. Take the bus or buy the insurance from their company. And it was either the first or second time I saw this commercial, I started screaming at the screen saying, how do I learn how to parallel park? Dumbass, right? You don't know how to parallel park, so instead take the bus or buy insurance from their company. Why wouldn't you learn how to parallel park? It's not hard. Well, why am I bringing this up? That's what traders do. You're either an Elliott wave guy or you're a Fibonacci guy. No. Well, you're either a market profile guy or you're a price action guy. No. Well, how can you say no? Because I'm not. Well, you have to be. Why? Because those are the only things you understand, so therefore the market has to fit into that box? Talk about arrogant. You didn't figure it out, so therefore it can't be figured out? Come on. Are you done? Okay, so here's the way I like to look at things. I'm not even a golfer, but I talked about this last time, and a few people had some feedback. I'm not a golfer, but my trading partner at the time was, and we had 3 of these things. One at his house, one at my house, and one at the office, because it didn't matter where we were, because he lived in a different state, and sometimes we'd be at his place, sometimes we'd be at my place, sometimes we'd be at the office. So anyway, these things are like 10 grand a piece, but it's an actual device that gives you the muscle memory for a proper golf swing. And he was a phenomenal golf swinger. He was going to go on or try out for the Pro-Am or the PGA Tour. He was a 1 to 3 handicap golfer, depending on how much he practiced. And he could have been even better. And this was the device, and his coach was good enough, his swing coach was to advise him of that. And obviously we had the money to buy him if we had him. Okay. But what do people do? Instead, well, I'm not going to spend 10 grand for that. I don't even know how much they are now. I'm not going to spend 10 grand for that. I'm not going to spend the money to get the coach that I need. I'm going to go to my local friendly. I can go and golf there for free. There's a club, there's a course in my, and they have a pro there. Okay, so let me see if I got this right. You can golf at the local public course for free or next to free, and they have a quote unquote pro. You're kidding, right? You don't see the irony there? What is it that Jack Nicholson said? My mother never saw the irony in calling me a son of a bitch. Yeah, okay. That's the problem. People will spend all their time doing everything except what needs to be done to do this the proper way. The same thing with trading. I'll buy a book for $29. And then what? You're going to kill it? You're going to go make $1 million on Monday? Come on. I can teach a monkey to make $2,000, $5,000 a day if the monkey will listen. What's the problem? Monkeys don't listen. Neither do most traders. So that's this thing in action here. Or would you rather be this guy? That's most retail traders. That's why they're a waste of time. I'm not saying you're a waste of time. You're here. You're here. Okay? So I'm assuming you want to do better. But from a trading perspective, make no mistake, we laugh at you guys because they do everything backwards. Remember I mentioned the guy who wants to run the marathon backwards? Why? Why? It's not that hard. When I used to be a pro, semi-pro athlete, I got the guy who was a world champion in endurance to teach me to improve my endurance. I flew to Maui and spent a few days with him. He holds a world's record in the men's 100, 600, 1,000 mile run. I didn't even know there was a 1,000 mile run, but he won it twice. Okay, that's a guy you want teaching you about fitness. Okay, this is what most traders do. Well, I like to use this gadget, and they argue about the gadgets. There's countless golf gadgets, just like there's countless golf trading gadgets. They're gadgets, they're crutches, they're used. How about actually learn how to do this and you don't need the gadget, right? Take that stuff and launch it. I love this picture, right? Can you relate? If you've ever golfed or if you've ever traded, that's been you at least once. Believe me, before I got a good handle on this in the late 90s, because I really didn't get my caca together until 99, 2000, and then by 2002, I had it pretty dialed in and just get better all the time. Okay, but back in the late 90s, we had a heavy bag in the corner of the office, and we actually had one of those. It's a turquoise-colored man's torso. You put sand in the base to punch to get out frustrations. We'll talk about that here as time goes on. Okay. What about learning how to ski? Is that you? Did you get taught by your buddies the way I did? Get taught by buddies the way I did? Get brought to the top of the hill when you're 15, 16, get pointed straight down? Is that how you want to learn? Or you want to learn from this guy? That's who I learned from. 2-time world freestyle champion. I was an okay skier before I got with him. I can get down the hill now. All right? It's the same thing. People won't spend the money. You can't cheap your way to the top of anything. This is about serious trading. And I'm interested in working with serious people that are passionate about doing this for real and doing it for a living. Well, you said earlier, 20 points a day. Every day in the ES, on average. Sure. Sound impossible? Well, doing it the way you're doing it probably is. We don't do it that way. We can show you how. I promise you. That's what we do here. And it won't cost you a nickel to even see for us to prove it to you. Got to ask yourself, why do you do that stuff that you do with your money? golfing at the local public course and getting the local friendly pro that doesn't know anything, that couldn't get a better job anywhere else. Do that with your money. Why can't I make my stuff work? Because it doesn't work. It isn't you. You've been lied to. All that cockamamie crap, I can disprove it. I can show you the differences in software. When you know how to read the market, I ran 8 or 9 different softwares side by side until I chose what I chose. Not simultaneously, but 2 at a time. Okay, I can tell you what the problem is with TradeStation. I ran TradeStation, Realtik, CQG, QCharts, Aspen Research, eSignal, MetaTrader. I mean, I've tried a whole bunch of stuff. And I settled on what I settled because it's the best. And it's not even the most expensive, but I would pay it. We used to have FutureSource Bridge Pro and FutureSource Bridge Expert in the late 90s, like $1,800 per station, because I thought that was the best. Do you really want to be a trader? I mean, do you really want to be a trader? Because most people want to get the benefits of being a trader, but they hate the idea of trading, of clicking more than once a day. It scares the bejesus out of them, right? We make 10, 12, 15 trades a day, mapping out both ends to the tick ahead of time. That's impossible. No, doing it your way is impossible. Can an average person get amazing results? Anybody can. If you're a bus driver, you can. If you made it to this seminar, you can. But you can't do it doing it the way you've been doing it. Does it require years of study? Yes, it took me 10, 12 years to figure out how the market was. I took about 3 months off and went back and reviewed, 2,000, 3,000 of my trades. And when I went through this process of figuring it out and looking at it from a completely different perspective, and then you realize it's not what you've been taught. It's not what you think it's about. It's not what any of that conventional stuff teaches. That's completely backwards, completely. But does it require that of you? No. You get the benefit of my years of study and experience, and I wouldn't want anyone to go through what I went through. It cost me relationships. It cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars, close to $1 million of my own money to figure out how this works. And as I said, it's not what you think it's about. Can somebody show me the way? That's what we do here. But the question you got to ask yourself, most importantly, is will you make the changes that it takes? Most people won't. They want to cling to the stuff that they do. I like doing this. Well, you must like losing. No, I don't want to lose. I want to win. Okay, but the stuff you're doing hasn't worked, will never work, doesn't make you any money, but yet you won't let go of it. How stupid is that? Right? That's why you suck at this to retail traders, because they do. Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again. They say it's Albert Einstein, but his family and friends say he didn't necessarily say that, but whatever. This isn't rocket science, but you've been lied to. You've been lied to over and over and over again by different people selling different products. I'm trying to sell you education if you choose to take us up on it, but it doesn't cost you anything at all to find out if I know what I'm talking about or if I'm just a bag of hot air, and I got no problem with that. Okay, distinction time. Retail or pro? Are you the person buying the car at the car dealership, or are you the car dealer? Are you the person in the casino, or do you own the casino or want to own or act like the casino? That's the transition we have to make. Retail traders are like sheep, and sheep get slaughtered. Ask any broker that will tell you honestly, and he'll tell you 80, 85%, maybe 90% of his clients lose money. Who makes the rest? Guys like us. Okay? You want to be one of those? Let's do this. Okay. Top 10 reasons traders fail. They're stubborn. I don't care what market you're trading. I don't care what your philosophy is, what your system is, what your method is, what charts you use, what indicators you use, what your hold time is, what your risk parameters are. People lose for one reason only when you cut everything else away. They are stubborn. Stubborn, stubborn, stubborn. Why? They won't get out. They won't stop using things that don't work. They won't get out of trades that are going against them. All these philosophies double down. You know what dollar cost averaging is? It's buying more of a loser, dummy. Don't do stupid stuff. Retail traders, what do they do? And this is, again, mostly my list, but we're running out of time here because I talk too much. Retail traders are typically late to the party. They trade with emotion. Way too small a time frame. Anybody who uses a 1 minute chart or a tick chart is a what we call a panic boy or girl, as the case may be. We call them panic boys. They're like running around like headless chickens. Nobody knows anything. You can't learn anything from a 1 minute chart. Yeah, but I want to see the turns. Okay, slow down, stop for a second. We post and map out the day, more or less to the tick, every move and the day itself, both ends. And if I do that at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it doesn't happen until 10 o'clock, we're still 121 minutes ahead of you using your 1 minute chart because we have the information ahead of time. You're chasing it afterwards. Fear of missing it. That's a huge one, right? You got to get it back. Overtrade when you should leave it alone. Stops, the misuse and overuse of stops. That's my number 2 pet peeve. My number 1 pet peeve is setups. Anyone that tells you, we look for market setups. What does that look like? 3 dolphins jumping through a hoop? 2 palm trees swaying in the breeze? A sailboat on the horizon with the sun coming up on the east side? I mean, what does it look like? The market setup. Anybody who tells you that doesn't have the first flipping clue about the market or how to trade. They need it to look like a certain picture of a caterpillar on a leaf or something before they can trade. Think about how stupid that is. We trade all day, every day, regardless of what the market's doing, and we capture everything that occurs with small risk per trade, regardless of how it's behaving. Okay. Size, leverage. They use way too much size or leverage for their ability, not only of trading, but emotionally to handle when trades go against them. They trade only one method or way. I talked about that. I'm a fib guy. I'm a wave guy. I'm a market profile guy. Yeah. Great. Congratulations. Good for you. Yeah. Guess what? The market doesn't do one thing over and over again. It doesn't do anything over and over again. You have to have multiple tools in your bag, which comes from a total market understanding, like, well, a variety of clubs in a golf bag and knowing how to use effectively each one. Imagine that. What a concept. Bias. I don't care what you read or thought or read. The Euro's doing this, or Draghi's going to do the other thing, or Yellen's going to say this. Or I don't care. Leave your bias at home. The market will dictate where it's going to go before these reports, before these events, and those events will take us to those levels. Imagine that. What a concept. Having it mapped out ahead of time instead of running around like a headless chicken afterwards. Expectations, right? We've all got the emails. Turn $500 into $6 million by midnight tonight. Come on. Let's be serious, especially if you don't know anything. Okay, that's the biggest problem with retail traders is they don't know anything, and they don't even know that they don't know anything, and you can't tell them that they don't know anything because they already know everything. Kind of silly, right? Indicators, schmindicators, right? We just talked about that in the beginning. That the problem is they're looking at the same stuff that you're looking at, but they can't take into account all of the factors that move the market. Remember that line from Gordon Gekko, right? War, famine, upheaval, the cost of paper clips. We make the decisions that move the world and the market. That couldn't be more true. So there's defense stocks, transportation stocks, banking stocks, oil drilling stocks, all of these things all of the time, and they're all changing all of the time based on economic parameters in each country. China not doing as well, Japan being downgraded, all of those things. So what? Guess what? If you understand how to read the market, none of that matters, and indicators only make it worse, not better. Sadly, they don't do any of those things. Throw that stuff away. As I said in my presentation prologue here, that dog won't hunt. It'll keep you conflicted, frustrated, confused. Pro traders know the targets and the levels that the market will use ahead of time. Pro traders have no emotion. I don't care. About what? About anything. I'm jumping ahead here, but we look at bigger time frames, but we still don't miss anything. You're not going to miss a thing on your 1 minute chart except being the first loser. You'll panic in and panic out, which is one of our mantras. No peepo. This is a no peepo zone. We don't panic in, we don't panic out. We pare down and out over time the proper way, which we teach you. We teach you how to trade multiple accounts, all of that stuff, how to ramp up properly, because you make money with size. not from sitting there more hours, not from grabbing a few more ticks here and there. That's all backwards. You make money trading size. I get introduced to people all the time, and friends or relatives tell them that I'm a trader, and see what I have and see what we do and all that. What do you trade? I tell them I trade size. You get the blank stare, but you can use that. It's pretty funny actually. We use a break-even stop when appropriate and ride the rest to the logical target. Trade the market the way it is, no bias. Read number 4. I don't care about what, about anything, because the market will tell us what we need. Having an opinion leads to bias, which leads to being stubborn. See the problem here? It's a chain of events. If you have no bias and you stay flexible and you don't care, then you're free to capture whatever the market does do. Provided, of course, you're looking under the right rocks and know how to read it, which is what I want to prove to you, that can be done that way. And then we can teach you how to do that if you're so interested. And number 10, we get what's there and come back tomorrow. We don't use any of that stuff. We don't use indicators or candle patterns or chart patterns. I mean, really, are you going to throw 100,000, couple 100,000 at the market in a trade based on 3 leaky boats freshly painted, 3 black crows sitting on the fence? I mean, are you serious? Because we need to talk. I've got a shrink that I want you to meet. Okay? We don't use Fibonacci levels. You have 27 of them on your screen. It's bound to hit one of them. That's just stupid. It doesn't work that way. People will argue. Well, yes, it does. Okay, how come you don't make $1 million or more a year if that stuff is so good? Blank stare, right? Okay, that's the acid test, isn't it? Price action, still after the fact, and it's still small spectrum. You got to get your head out of that tiny mindset. Tiny moves, tiny ticks, tiny size, tiny whatever, or you'll forever be in that conundrum of retail trader, tiny-minded, make no money doing this stuff. I'm trying to break you out of that. Pivots. Oh my God. What are we at now in the market? S256. I mean, R 2,465. Please, if that's the best you can do, go do something else. Elliott wave again, market profile, that kind of crap. We don't use any of that. Why? Because the market doesn't work that way. If it did, everybody using that stuff would be killing it. Are they? Are you? Okay. So let's talk about what we do and what I want you to do. We map out the entire day at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. We post it in text with a timestamp that can't be changed. We have all this stuff is based on our own servers, so it's archived. We retain every post we've ever made in every room for every day we've ever posted. So all of that is there. Somebody could say, well, what did you do on May 3rd, if that's a weekday? We can pull it up and look. I'll tell you what we did. We have the charts that show what we did, but we map it out every day at 8 a.m. We give the exact levels that the market will use. We give the targets and the timing. The levels are what we lean on. Everybody says, well, why can't you tell me where to click? Really? If you were teaching a 16-year-old how to drive and they had never been in a car, let's say they lived on an island or under a rock somewhere, and you had to explain this is the accelerator and this is the brake pedal, and what it does is, applies pressure through a piston, hydraulic fluid that goes through lines, and then these calipers, and they squeeze the disc, and that slows the car down. Okay, great. So you explain all that. And you teach them a little bit, and okay, just drive, pull ahead now, depress the brake pedal, and it stops. Oh, great, I got it. You take them out driving, you say, okay, so at this intersection we have to stop, so take your foot off the accelerator, put it on the brake pedal. Great, got it. Should you really have to tell them at every intersection, okay, take your foot off the accelerator and depress the brake pedal, push it to stop the car? Okay, that's what people are asking me to do. Tell me where to click, Daddy. Okay, that's why we only work with serious traders. If we're telling you, hypothetically, the market's going to bounce from 1210 to 1225. When we're trading at 1210, what do you think you should do? Sell it? Come on. Of course. It's going from 1210 to 1225, then you buy it at 1210, you sell it at 1225, or a tick or two in front of that. We have an entries and exit sections on our website that deals with that more specifically. I'm running out of time here. Okay, so we give the exact levels that the market will use, the targets, the timing, how long it should take to get there, the order of events. We capture all that is there all day, every day, regardless of how the market's behaving. You say, well, that's a pretty bold claim. Of course it is, especially if you're doing it using indicators and chasing methods. But if you understand how the market works, it's like showing up at any job, any day. If you're good at your job, you should be able to get whatever's there. That's what we do. Technical analysis for us is having an exact entry, having an exact target. Couple things. It denotes the range. It tells you the market. The market gives us this information. It might be 3.5 points. It could be 8.5 points. It could be 14.25 points. It is what it is. There's no set matrix schedule cookie cutter. But that tells us risk reward, right? If we got a 20-point move coming, I'm going to take another tick or two risk to capture that and make sure I don't miss it versus a 3-point move, because your risk reward diminishes from 20-1 to 3-1, right? That kind of thing. Timing, how long it should take. The break price. Okay, so this trade is valid so long as this level holds. Holds as in not traded through, not by one tick, by one contract. Because if you understand the market and how it works and how it generates the information that it does, then you can read it that way. There's nothing to do with any close above or below or whatever. That's just a bunch of bunk. Because if you change the time frame of the chart, you'll get a different answer. The answer shouldn't change based on the time frame. When we teach people how to read the market, we have them make up time frames. We say pick a number from 1 to 300. Pick a number from 1 to 1,000. Pick a number from 1 to 3,000. I don't care. So you say make a 712-minute chart. Okay, great. Now pick the market. IBM, GE, crude oil, natural gas, gold, ES, YM. I don't care what it is. And guess what? Where's it going? Well, based on what we taught you, where's it going? Going to that price level. And guess what? It gets hit to the tick. Why? Because it's true understanding, not the BS you were taught about it has to be an XYZ time frame chart. Why? Why? Market doesn't think like that. Why would you think like that? Okay? So we can give you that so you can lean on that price, have small risk. Okay? If you're not trading that way, we can help. We were saying back last summer, 106, 107 was certainly high enough in crude, and we called a pullback and gave a 64 target. Monday, that was hit. I can verify that if you log into the free trial room. We'll tell you how to do all that. I can copy those posts from those people that were there on Monday. I can ask in all 3 rooms and say, did we give a 64 target? And on Monday morning, we said that was low enough, should take some profit, right? Right. Okay. And it was hit on Monday. Imagine that. This is from Monday's ES chart. Our posts were, and if you see over here at 8 o'clock, so that's why all the lines start at 8 o'clock, and this is the way we do things. We said north of 59.25 was bonus money for any bounce, but we could expect a bounce on the open to 60.75, and we posted that in 8 a.m. posts with a timestamp. What was the high after the open? 60.75. We said pull back from there to at least back to 51. We said that is a very important level. South of that will be bonus money, but we had a probe target of 48.5. The low of the day, as you can see, one tick more than that. It went to 48.25. We resold up here. We resold over here and here. We said we probably won't stay below 51, and taking profit south of 52 is a good idea. That was Monday. And I can show you all this. We can show you the charts. I can show you how to get to them. We can review the posts. We can do all that stuff. I'm giving you an overview here because you say, well, how do I know that looks good afterwards? No. We had that beforehand, and I'll prove it to you. Okay. On Tuesday, we said to use this for support. We had a 61, 64, and 66.75 upside target and gave these as trailing rebuys to lean up against on the way up to get these targets. And we had these lines at 8 a.m. That's what we do. Today, We said 65 was for buying, 70 quarter minor target, but we should see 71 quarter, later on 74, and even 75 quarter was not impossible by the end of the day. We gave these as trailing. We call them lines in the sand, meaning if it holds, it's still going to bounce again. If it's taken out, we'll get more pullback. It's not a support or resistance, but that's what we gave. If you even log in the room now, I can show you those posts and repost them with a timestamp of what we did. This is what we do. We map it out. So our traders, what we have them do is open a simple 5 minute chart with no indicators and put the lines on. So at 8 a.m., your chart might look blank like this, but you'd have these lines on it. So it would be like a game of connect the dots where you see these levels fulfilled, and then later in the day, that's what your chart looks like. We had that all ahead of time, and we do that all day, every day. Let's see here. So trade management and implementation. I'm getting pretty thin on time because I took a little too much time in the beginning, so I'm going to whiz right through this stuff. We teach that about how to enter, how to exit, how to make a proper transition. Initially, I don't want anybody trading, not even in demo, because you can't focus on learning if you're trying to trade it. What do the retail traders do? Oh, I just want to see how I would have done. With what? You don't even know what we're doing yet. Okay? Relax. Don't panic. That's our mantra for retail traders. Panic, 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 panic. You know, they worry about panicking, and they're panicked if they don't have anything to worry about. And they can't wait to click, but they have no idea where or why. Remember that headless chicken thing? Okay, we'll teach you and take you on from the beginning, but you have to see that first before you can understand it, and you have to understand it before you can trade it. We'll teach you how to take notes, and there is a proper way to take notes. How to make a proper transition from note-taking to demo trading, and yes, there is a proper way. Transition from demo to live, from live to ramp up, from ramp up to multiple accounts. Okay? We do this every day, and we average 20 points a day from the ES market with small risk per trade. Why trade it? The ES, because it runs the world. No matter what you're trading, you got to monitor where the S&P is anyway. You wouldn't look for short stock candidates when the ES is ripping up, or vice versa. You have to monitor it, and it runs the world. The Dow is an antiquated index. The ES is very cost effective with all of these advantages. You say you want proof? Everybody wants proof. I want to know. Well, la-di-da for you. Okay, put your hands on your hips and just stand there. And okay, that'll make you feel good. That'll make you feel significant. How about show up with a pad and write down everything we say for 2 weeks? How would that be? Before you have to commit, before you have to decide, you can sit there for 2 weeks and as I said, don't write down part of what I write down everything we post. I'll be responsible for anything and everything that we post in the room all day, every day. We're there from 8 a.m. until the 4:15 ES close. No breaks, no whatever. We trade on or before reports. We trade through them, and we capture everything that happens all day, every day. And I want you to see that before you commit a nickel. You want to see that you can do that? I'm happy to prove it to you. So here's our website, leadingedgetrading.com. If you look at this button right below the free trial button, you can see what we did last trading session. They look like this. We have a moderator in two of the rooms, free trial and silver room, and he posts his chart. Usually it's posted the next morning for what we did the next day, because he does his notes and updates everything about what we did from the post themselves. So, these are just examples of the kind of stuff that we do. And every chart since the beginning of the year is available there. If you want to see this in action, and you could even log in now after this webinar, I'll go to the room and repost whatever you'd like from the last day or two or three of the posts that we actually made, and you could see that I can account for everything every claim I'm making here. Just can't do it all in an hour. But if you wanted to join us and see for yourself, and again, you can't pay for it. You can't. We give a 2-week free trial. There's no credit card payment of any kind required. In fact, like I said, you can't pay us. There's no software to download. It's all hosted on our servers. We focus primarily on the ES. we look at these other markets. In fact, we swing trade some of those. You can ask about other markets, and I'll look at them for you and give an honest read. If you decided you wanted to join us after that 2 weeks, it's $2.99 a month. There's no upsell. It's $2.99 a month, period. That's the way it's been since the beginning. There's never been an increase in price. There's never been an upsell. There's no requirement to ever go beyond that. That's about $10 a day, or for you calculating trading days, it's about one tick on one lot per day in the ES market to know exactly ahead of time where the market's going. You get there by clicking the orange button on that screen. If you decided to join us, it would be from this screen to join the silver room. But if you just want to join the free trial, that's the extent of the information that we ask you for. Name, email address, phone number. You can pick your own username and password. There isn't even a place to pay us. However, before you come, we ask you, we beg you, please review the information on the website. And here's why. Say, well, I've been trading for 15 years. I don't care if you've been trading for 15,000 years. We do things differently than you do. We use different terms, or we may use terms that you think you are aware of the meaning, but we may use them in different ways. So in order to eliminate that confusion, why not just go and review this stuff? Remember we said earlier, why do traders lose? Because they're stubborn. Okay, here's somebody that's trying to show you a completely different way to kick ass. And as I said, we can teach a monkey to make $2 to $5 grand a day if the monkey will listen. A day. Yes, I didn't stutter. A day. Why? It's not complicated if you'll follow directions. People who follow directions get this. People who don't, which is why we only want to work with serious traders. People who are serious about doing this, not use half of what you know and half of what I know, and I still like to look at my charts. Yeah, whatever. It's not going to work. Why? Because that dog won't hunt. Okay, on the website, we have these sections about trading pad, which is the way we want you to take notes and transpose those notes onto your chart. We have a section on entries and exits, on stops, on normal versus aggressive. It's going to take a while, probably 3 days, for it to really start to gel and make sense. But if you just do this, go to the trading pad section, line up your chart, like a 5-minute chart, like we said, just like that, put the lines on your chart, or it might look like that from the beginning of the day. You'll start to see that the dots get connected, all the stress goes away, and you're not running around with your hair on fire like a headless chicken. There's an abbreviation section we use, and I'm a terrible typist, and I'm dyslexic, so the comes out as TEH, some comes out as SOEM sometimes. You get used to that. But it's the same conveyance of information after a while. So it'll make sense. After some people get it in an hour, but after 2 or 3 days there, it'll really start to gel. If you decide you wanted to join us in the silver room, there's no contract. We don't auto charge, none of that stuff. You pay us by PayPal or Visa, MasterCard, your choice. It's up to you. If you like it, stay. If you don't like it, don't stay. I'm a big boy. I hope that you're a big person too. Okay, we're all adults here. If you decided you wanted to learn how we do what we do, I mean, that's it. We don't sell the training. People buy it from us. There's no requirement for that. But if you decided, we want you to stay in the silver room for a while to make sure you get it and to interact with you, because we train you until you get it for the same price. It doesn't matter. There's no upselling. There's no upcharges, whatever. It's expensive because it's my life work. You can talk to admin about that. So with that said, one last thing about the chat rooms. They are text only. We don't show charts. Pro traders don't need to be entertained. People who want to entertain you don't have anything of substance to give you, to deliver. So they entertain you with lights and charts and spinning numbers and voice and buttons that they push that say buy, sell. Okay, that's stupid. It's juvenile. It's immature. Pro traders don't want or need that. It's annoying. It's stupid, and we don't do it. We give you a little bit more credit for being a little bit more intelligent and mature than that. If that is what you seek, then we suggest that you look for that experience elsewhere, because I can tell you exactly where the market's going, more or less to the tick, all day, every day, but I'm not here to entertain you, okay? I'm here to trade, to make money, and I want to be surrounded by traders that have that same goal. So, with that being said, we've got about 6 minutes, 5.5 minutes left. I'll open it up for questions here. I'll answer as many as I can. Otherwise, you can either call the 800 number on the website. It's on every page of the website, or email our office administrator. She goes by admin@leadingedgetrading.com. Otherwise, just join the free trial room. You got nothing to lose, and we'll prove this to you. And we'll have a voice chat session after the close tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern tomorrow. We'll have a voice chat session where we can all meet, and I can answer your questions after your first day and explain it using voice and charts and a whiteboard and whatever. I think it'll be very helpful. Okay. Otherwise, we'll do what we can during the day. Oh, what do we got here? What do you got? Okay. I'm scrolling up to see where we started. That's awesome. Okay. Adam's laughing out loud. Good. Monkeys don't listen. Better than a comedy show. That's hilarious. Let's see here. What platform do you run in the trading room? I run TT Xtrader on a VPN, but that's not required. You can use anything, Z-Frank. Whatever you're comfortable with or been using to start off with, that's fine. I just want you to be able to follow along on a simple charting platform. I don't want anyone trading, even in demo initially. What are the trading room hours? The free trial room closes every night, but it's open now in case you want to log in now. But it opens every morning at 7:35, 7:40 Eastern time. Posting starts promptly at 8, and we're there all day until the 4:15 close. Let's see here. John says, so the target is the same regardless of minute, hour. It would be, John, if you understand how to read the market, and that's what we can help show you, teach you. Yeah, because it's going where it's going regardless of what you're looking at. Don't forget, the market doesn't care about you or me. It's going where it's going. It's a question of knowing how to read it, and all that conventional stuff doesn't read it properly. So it won't get you there. Jim says, do you teach students how to calculate load? Yes, that's what we do in the other rooms, the gold and platinum rooms, Jim. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to go faster here and rip through this stuff because we only have 2 minutes and change left. Phil says, how about Forex? Why trade Forex? It's economically unfeasible. It's a monumental waste of time. Let me put it this way. Let's say we were each using $2,500. And I don't mean a $2,500 account. Let's say $25,000 in your account, but you were trading with $2,500 in Forex. If you killed it and got everything that was there in pretty much any Forex market, and I did a decent job and got everything that was there in the S&P market, I'd still probably make about 3 times more than you on the day. That's why I think Forex is a waste of time. Aside from the fact that it's the most manipulated market in the world. All markets are manipulated, but if you think about it, what is Forex? Money. Okay, what does money have to equal? Whatever, who's got the most of it says it has to equal. What does the S&P have to equal? The summation of the 500 stocks that it represents in its own matrix, right? I mean, there's people that arb those spreads back, but that's cookie crumbs. I mean, we're not talking, we want to get the meat. Z. Brian says, please explain. I'm not sure what. How do we handle news? We post it ahead of time. We'll map it out ahead of time, Rob. Pro traders trade before and on news. Retail traders try to catch up afterwards. That's why they're always buying the high and selling the low, backwards. C. Randy says, do you have Globex levels available also? Yes. The end of the day, we kind of give a jumping off point for Globex. And then in the morning, we review where we left off yesterday and then take it from there. So it's kind of an ongoing saga. Let's see here. Let's see here. I'm sorry, I'm reading through some of these other things. DNA Trader says, how do you believe you were able to figure out the market and nobody else has? Well, I don't know that nobody else has, but I am dyslexic. I was stubborn. I had a few bucks. I had enough time on my hands, and I was persistent enough, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone. I don't know that anyone can or can't do what we do. I just know what I know, and I know what we do, DNA, and I'm happy to demonstrate that to you for 2 weeks. And if you want to join us, great. And if you decide at some point that you wanted to learn how, we'd be happy to teach you. Okay? Let's see here. Neil says, please briefly describe the amount of time it takes and the progression of a knowledgeable trader who joins the silver room and wants to ultimately trade independently. Well, I can't, Neil, and here's why. Are you going to listen? Let's say, for example, you don't play the guitar. How long is it going to take you to learn? Well, that would depend on A, your teacher, B, your guitar, C, do you have any rhythm whatsoever, D, will you practice? Will you do the lessons they teach you? Will you practice more than is necessary? So it's a two-way street. We give and give and give and give, but I can't pour it in your head. So it takes what it takes. It's a journey, and you can earn while you learn. So there's no problem, but there's no set time frame. And we don't hold anybody back. But if we say, posting starts at 8 and you show up at 9:15, where you been? If we say, okay, tonight I want you to look at this, this, and this, and you don't, okay, so it's going to take you longer. Does that make sense? Okay, I am about out of time. If you have any questions, comments, observations, anything you'd like to have answered, you can call the 800 number here. Michelle is there now. Or you can email her at admin@leadingedgetrading.com. Otherwise, I'll see you in the room in the morning. Actually, I'll pop in the room, the free trial room, and can repost some things that we posted today so you get an idea of what the posts look like if you like. I'll hang around for about 15 minutes doing that. Otherwise, we'll see you in the morning. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your indulgence, and we hope to see you there. Thank you, Kathy and Kevin, for all that you do to help these people. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night, and hopefully we'll see you in the room.